The world now trusts China more than America, and it's not even close. Ladies and gentlemen, gather around because the unthinkable has happened. The planet, yes, that spinning rock we all share, has just delivered the biggest geopolitical slap in the face to the United States, and it stings. For the first time in modern history, more people across the globe believe China will have a more positive influence on the world than the so-called land of the free. Oof, that's not a fall from grace, that's a nosedive off a cliff. This isn't some internet poll cooked up in a basement. No, this gem comes courtesy of Ipsos, the world's largest global research firm. They asked 22,000 people from 29 countries a simple question: who do you think will have a better impact on the world over the next decade? And the verdict? Only 46% of people think the US will be a force for good. Lowest score in the survey's history. Record-breaking, just not in the way America hoped. And the cherry on top, even Canada, America's polite next-door neighbor and loyal trading partner, clocked in at a pathetic 19% approval rating. That's not a decline. That's a diplomatic collapse. When even your best friend thinks you're becoming the villain, maybe it's time for a little soul-searching. But hang on, because just when you thought this geopolitical roast couldn't get worse, it does. When the world was asked who they believed would have a more positive influence on global affairs, 49% pointed to China. That's right, China, the same country the US media constantly paints as a dystopian, tech-stealing boogeyman. Well, the world isn't buying it anymore. For the first time in modern polling, China beat the US in global trust. Cue dramatic gasp. Even Chris Jackson, a top VP at Ipsos, put it bluntly: 3 months into the second Trump administration, America's reputation has taken a serious hit, especially among our so-called allies. And honestly, it's hard to argue with him. Because while Trump promised to make America respected again, what we're seeing is a nation sprinting into isolation while the rest of the world quietly shifts its trust to Beijing. But hey, it's fine, right? Because the MAGA crowd won't notice. Jackson even said it himself. Given the inward focus of many Americans, it's unlikely the MAGA base will notice our diminishing standing on the world stage. Translation: as long as the burgers are still flipping and gas prices stay tolerable, who cares about what the French think? But here's where things get truly dystopian and darkly hilarious. Because while Trump's administration was out waving flags and screaming about American greatness, they quietly started dismantling the very engine of that greatness: American science, education, and research. Let's talk numbers. According to, that dusty little journal read by Nobel Prize winners, 75% of US scientists are now considering leaving the country, not for vacation, for good. Most are actively job hunting in Canada and Europe. Imagine being a country so allergic to intelligence that you're chasing out your smartest people. Peak strategy. Why the brain drain? Because Trump declared war on universities, academia, and free thought. In an authoritarian fever dream, the administration threatened to yank accreditation from universities that refused to censor criticism of Trump. You heard that right. Welcome to the banana republic of academia. Take Harvard, that little safety school you may have heard of. Trump demanded they cancel entire courses. Harvard refused. So the White House retaliated by threatening to pull public funding and strip tax-exempt status. That's not politics. That's a mob hit on higher education. Result? Professors are leaving. Foreign students are packing their bags. And America's once mighty academic pipeline drying up like the Colorado River. The best and brightest aren't coming to America anymore. They're heading elsewhere. And guess who's standing at the gates with open arms and full scholarships? China. That's right. While the US is lighting its PhD programs on fire, China is recruiting talent like it's drafting an all-star tech team. Robotics, AI, biotech, the works. Scientists that once saw America as the promised land are now publishing breakthrough research from shiny new Chinese labs. And if you think this won't have consequences for decades to come, wake up. Because China isn't just benefiting, they're winning. Meanwhile, Trump's big brain strategy includes deporting foreign students, revoking visas by the hundreds, and turning the FBI loose on graduate researchers from unfriendly countries, which apparently includes anyone not born in Texas. And as CNN's Fareed Zakaria, aka one of the few people left reading books, put it, Trump is destroying 100 years of competitive advantage in 100 days. That's not hyperbole, that's fact. Let's do some quick math. In 2020, China graduated 3.57 million STEM students. The US, just 820,000. Let that sink in. Every year, China is minting 4 times as many scientists, engineers, and tech geniuses. In a world where AI and clean energy will decide global dominance, this isn't just bad, it's suicidal. And while America is cutting funding to public universities, China is building them by the dozen. They've constructed over 16,000 science and tech incubators, covering 95% of the country. That's right. While America builds border walls, China builds labs. Their universities are now climbing global rankings like a rocket, with 2 cracking the top 15 for the first time. They've also overtaken the US in high-quality submissions to Nature, which is science speak for "we're smarter than you now." But the kicker, China isn't just attracting new talent, it's reclaiming old talent. Chinese researchers in the US, facing harassment and visa headaches, are heading home. And Beijing isn't just welcoming them, it's rolling out the red carpet. And while this brain power migration is reshaping global tech leadership, America is busy gaslighting itself. Enter Senator Tom Cotton, who tweeted, and I quote, "China doesn't innovate, it steals." Amazing. It's like watching someone argue the Earth is flat while standing on a globe. Because, fun fact, a US-funded think tank just reported that China now leads the world in 37 out of 44 key technology sectors. That includes semiconductors, AI, green energy, and quantum computing. But sure, keep saying they just copy stuff. Here's the reality. China isn't catching up anymore. They're leaping ahead, while the US is too busy blaming immigrants and bullying universities. This is why Bloomberg had to publish an article called "Why the World Keeps Getting Shocked by China's Technological Progress." Translation: we keep underestimating them, and they keep owning us. Every time China unveils a new AI or green tech breakthrough or next-gen robot, Americans are left scratching their heads like, wait, how'd that happen? Simple denial is not a strategy. You can't win the innovation race with slogans and finger-pointing. You win it with investment, education, and welcoming talent, the very things the US is now actively rejecting. Trump's approval ratings are already circling the drain, and for good reason. Americans are finally starting to see that while we were busy waving flags and yelling about greatness, the world was moving on without us. Now, instead of leading the 21st century, we're watching from the sidelines, because we burned the bridges, deported the talent, and gutted the institutions that made us competitive in the first place. China, they're not waiting. They're building, investing, innovating, leading. America had every advantage, but leadership isn't about muscle. It's about vision. And in the race for the future, we're finding out just how blind we've become. So next time you hear a politician scream America first, maybe ask yourself, first in what? Censorship, denial, brain drain? Because from where the world is standing, and this new survey confirms it, America isn't first, it's not even second, it's in freefall. And that, my friends, if you visit China, you can see firsthand the country that's actually thinking long-term while America spirals into academic self-destruction. I'll be visiting factories, talking to expats, locals and professors, and showing you what innovation looks like when it's not sabotaged by politics. So if you made it this far, drop a comment below. What do you want to see when I'm on the ground in China this summer? And make sure you like, subscribe and hit the bell, because this story isn't going away, it's just getting started. See you in the next video.